So let's get started. Creating a profile that features you at your best. I'd like you to think about what you'd like to get out of this session. And maybe you already know. So why don't we start by sharing what is it that you'd like to get out of this session? Who's ready? Tammy's just in. Tammy, we've just started, and we're just trying to get an impression about what everybody wants to learn from this session. Nell, you're unmuted. Why don't you start?
I think for me the biggest thing is in this ever growing online world, I think what I'm looking to get is how can I most easily get part of a personality across in the right way.
Okay. So what do you mean by that? In the right way, in this ever-changing online thing? How does that different from when it's not online? What are your challenges specifically?
I kind of feel that it's really easy when you meet someone face to face. To get a feel of what they're like or what your personality is, where obviously you take that body language and the tonality of your voice out. In the written word it's more difficult, and I sometimes read a lot of my stuff and think, well, it's a bit boring this, and I'm not boring.
Definitely, you're not boring. Okay, good. Well, we'll do, yes, it is still, but there's a lot to be, and I'll mention this later, but just a quickie for you is there's a lot of ways you can express yourself beyond text. Obviously, you know that with videos and everything, but then how do we bring out that personality also in the text? And we'll talk about writing style, okay? Great. Kanan, what would you like to get out of this?
Yeah. Well, we have spoken with you, and your really to the point comments was creating a profile for a person who has been in the corporate life is really hard to shift to a new point of view and preparing a new profile for the new conjuncture, let's say, being a business person. So I'll be happy to change first mindset and also my profile in the end.
Good. So from corporate
that will appeal to the people whom I would like to serve.
Yeah. Great. Tammy, what would you like to get out of this?
Hello. Yeah, so for me, sometimes I don't appreciate the strengths that I have because I'm just doing what I do. And when people challenge me, why you, I struggle with, oh yeah, you're right, why me? But it's like just an instant mental block. So I just want to work on, well, what is my profile? How does that how can I use that to attract more, and then also equally like repel others that I can't or shouldn't help.
Great. Okay. And Astrid has mentioned to me that she's happy to just listen in, so I won't ask her and pressure her to participate. Won't stress her out, but I'm sure she'll learn a lot from all of us sharing. Feel free to mute and unmute yourself whenever. I will be going through some content, but we will want to have room for discussion. I'm also testing out this platform, really, not only webinars. Typically, as you know, some of you have joined my webinars in one way. I'm testing this online group coaching, non-committal, sign up as you wish group coaching type of format to see how it goes. And I'd love to get your feedback afterwards. Okay, let's get started. So thank you for commitment to your growth, Creating a profile that features you at your best happens to be what I had to do, not by choice really. When you have a firm with 6 to 8 coaches at one go, and they know how to coach, but they don't know how to coach, how to market themselves, automatically my role has been the brand ambassador and salesman of all my coaches. So I've been working with their profiles, LinkedIn and off LinkedIn. And also we've even hired a branding consultant to sit down with a selected few to really tell them how to dress and how to even hair, even how to find their uniqueness and everything like that. So that's been the process. And throughout the process, I've been really interested in the whole process, and I've realized that people like you are geniuses, but you don't know it. And it's hard, even for me, looking at myself, to recognize how to package ourselves. And that's why in my business in the UK, I've decided not to go after really business owners and everything like that the way I used to do. I really want to help self-employed professionals to feature themselves at their best. Right. So my background, as some of you may know, is building a coaching business, but also before that, really turning around chemical businesses, pest control businesses, recruitment agencies, those kinds of type of corporate jobs that I used to do was all around sales, marketing, and building business turnarounds. What lights me up is working with people like you to help you understand yourself. I love conducting workshops. I love teaching. I love giving content, obviously. I love spending time with the people I love. And this is the man that brought me to the UK, obviously, Ron, and he's my life partner. And of course, I love adventure. Okay, so one of the things, as you are, and I want to go back to this, right? When you're talking about profile building, many of you may need to use slides. I think all of you need to use slides sometimes to present yourself. Now, of course, I've been very quick and humble because all this time I know Nell knows who I am. Canon and I have talked. Tammy, we work together. So you know who I am, so I can be shy about it, right? And I can just be quick about it. However, if I am doing this in a presentation, here's something that you need to know. How do you create a slide, a profile slide? Okay. A profile slide obviously has to have pictures in it, a picture. I've gone through, the traditional pictures of me and my awards, me and my credentials and everything like that. Maybe it's just a matter of experience and taste. What I find is I want to start with what's in it for you, instead of look at me and how cool I am. So, and simple things. When you're making a slide in general, right? I want to keep the slide clean. Yeah, you've got my logo on the top, on the bottom left. You've got my website on the bottom right. Done. My background is white, right? Or whatever solid color is good. Typically light background with black print is preferable because it's just easier on the eyes, especially if the city you're in has a lot of old people. The eyes don't work that well after a while, so keep it easy for them. I just like black on top of white, very simple. Now, when I first started, well, what's the first bullet point? Okay. What I noticed is there's a lot of coaches out here who are coaches, but they don't really have a lot of deep business experience. So I wanted to start with a statement that hopefully will set me differently. And people have come up to me and tell me that my profile is unique, it's impressive, and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I had the courage to share what I know with you guys, right? I want you guys to have the same thing. So I just started with my name, Cynthia Wiharja, on top. And then the first bullet point is 22 years of proven business achievement in multinational, blah, 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 as well as in my own business. That is a credibility statement, okay? Then I go benefit statement, which is unlocking potential in leaders and businesses, blah, 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 okay? So that's the benefit for you. You are a business leader, business owner of your own practice. And then what's unique about me? So we've got credibility, 22 years of blah, blah, blah. Benefit for you is I will unlock your, what will I do for you, right? And then the third thing is combining business savvy and coaching skills to sharpen your decisions. Basically, this is again a bit of the uniqueness, right? You've got a business coach that can talk about business. You can have a psychology coach talks about lifestyle and mindset and mindfulness. I'm a combination of that. And then another unique point is my diverse cultural background from living in this. And many of you have this, okay? So this is not about me, but this is about you, right? Canon, I know that you've got a lot of experience overseas as well, and moving into UK not too long ago, but bringing all that international experience on board, right? You've got some kind of diverse experience or some kind of unique experience somewhere. You know, Tammy, you were an achiever in your corporation, right? All right. Then is the blah blah. Okay. After a few points of what's in it for you, my uniqueness and blah blah, then I go, founded Action Coach Jakarta in 2008. I own that business. I own this business. Oh, I'm a founder of this. And because I wanted people to see that I like giving, I also put in, I'm a pro bono coach to nonprofits, because hopefully if there is a nonprofit I'm interested to help, and if they do need my help, we can connect, right? So I also want to build up the trust and the reputation that I give. Okay, so I wasn't actually planning to do this, but I just ran across this slide again and I just said, oh, why not? Why don't you just uncover my secrets right there? Okay, so now back to you. Now, sometimes, and I'm not sure things have changed or anything, but sometimes I do still see speakers whose the first point is perhaps, let's say, taking my profile, founder of this, founder of that, graduated of this, master of this, top awarded coach of that. I don't know about you, and I don't know what kind of crowd you're attracting, but if you'd like to attract people who are top executives, remember that they have egos. If you tell me you've got 2 awards, you know what? I've got 3. You know, if you said, you know, it's one of those things. What you will attract if you are too much papa about yourself are people who actually like, oh my God, you are amazing, genius, la la la. But that's because they haven't achieved much. And what you'll attract are people who may not be in your target market, because you're attracting fans, but not senior level clients. Senior level clients want to work with you. Of course, they want to be impressed by your credentials, and that's all right. You'll get that later. But what they want to work with you is because they want to have you answer this question: how do you understand me, and how will you help me? Okay, so you can even write that down. How do you understand me? Tell me that you understood me. So let's say, and I modify, by the way, I modify the slide for every presentation, right? It could be a presentation, and I could modify this to coaches, but I kept it as business leaders because when I looked at the attendance, a lot of you are looking to sell to business leaders. So I decided, okay, I'll just use my business leader bio thing, right? And I'm pretending that you are a business leader, like you are a SME owner or a corporate executive, right? This is what a business, if I were presenting for a business or leadership coaching presentation, this would be kind of my slide, right? Because how do I understand you? I've got 22 years of business achievement, corporate as well as multinational. Take your pick, right? How do I understand you? How do I benefit you? Line number 2, I unlock this and I unlock that. Okay, and what's unique about you? I combine coaching and psychology skills, and I'm diverse culturally. You've got your own stuff. And oh, by the way, here's my little blah blah papa at the bottom, founded this and that. Now, another thing that you need to realize when you're writing a profile, especially when you're doing a slide, is that slides have to be short. This is already quite long. I usually have it shorter than that, but I'm also a bit of a blabbermouth. So unfortunately, sometimes I don't write the shortest form. But try, 2 lines per bullet point is a lot. If you take public speaking classes and PowerPoint classes, they say every bullet point is only 5 to 7 items, 5 to 7 words. I've completely failed in that. But my point is, you've got to be able, if you've put too much text, your audience will look at the text and kind of try to ignore the sound of your voice because they're too busy reading the text. And if your text is succinct, it's easy. One flash of the text, one line, they can read it in a split second. But if some of the bio slides, because you're trying to say too much, are in paragraphs, including some of the franchise ones that's coming from templates and everything, they're in paragraphs. And I think they're horrid. It should be bullet points, it should be short. And if you are presenting this, you can talk about, if it's short, you don't have to go line by line and tell them this and tell them that. you can tell stories. As I've got 20, you can start with, oh, I've got 22 years of proven business, I've got 22 years of business experience. I come with, and it's been very interesting because I've got to work with product as well as service-oriented business. My projects were typically turning things around. You don't have to go line by line with this because they can read it, okay? But you can embellish it. But if it's too long, or a paragraph, what you'll find is as you're trying to speak more about yourself and introduce yourself, everybody's busy and their eyes are fixated on your slide, but not listening to you. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. So this is the business side. And I always also try to add a little something about personal side, what lights me up. And of course, you can also have an award slide on this is some of the things that makes me proud. Some of you will say, these are some things that make me proud. And this is your media coverage, your award winning, this and that. And I'm not saying that's bad. I had those moments as well. It's just that right now I'm in a phase in my life where I don't really care about that stuff. And I don't want to attract people who care about that stuff in as much as I want to attract clients that are human and see me as a human being. I'm done with being a hot shot and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, unfortunately, I don't have any slides showing you of all my past awards. I'm not interested to display that. Okay, and I always feel like you can always just read that on LinkedIn. So it's kind of contradicting because some people just like to use that for credibility. I only do this because this is I'm at a certain phase in my career. But when I was starting out, I was very much into, and look at me and I've got this award type of thing. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Just as long as you phrase it in a certain way that it doesn't feel arrogant. Okay. But what I chose these things, these three pictures, I used to just put pictures around, but I chose these three pictures is for these reasons. Usually when I start this slide, I say, and this is what lights me up. What lights me up is being with the person that I love. And that sets me off because I put the picture of me and Ron there because I want to set the intention that when I introduce myself, I want people to see me as a human being first. And I want people to like me first before not just seeing me as a vendor. So because I know my strength is in my personality, so I want to feature that. And then thing is, what lights me up is also contributing in seminars and workshops, for instance, teaching people, guiding people. And that's why I have a picture of this small workshop. And I have pictures when I was speaking for thousands of people, but I decided not to put that in there because again, I'm not going to speak to people who can put me on those big stages. But perhaps if I were making a presentation with people and my outcome was to be hired for keynote speak again in those big stages, I would put that picture in. But anyway, if you go to my website, there's a picture of me in a big stage there. So it's not like it's not available. It's just that I choose the pictures. So yes, you do want to alter these pictures or change these pictures when you have different types of presentations, depending on what is your outcome. And we'll talk about outcome-based profiles later. Okay. And the third picture is what lights me up is also breaking fears. This is me shark diving in the Bahamas. And I used to be afraid of diving the sea. I used to be afraid of sharks, but I just love taking one fear at a time and breaking it. So again, you know me from a business point of view. You know me as a person who has a personal life. You know what lights me up in terms of career, which is workshops, teaching, whatever. And you know that I've got this little unique side of me that I like to do some adventures and breaking fears. So it kind of covers in 2 slides. You've got a professional profile, you've got a personal sharing, you kind of know me, or you kind of have an impression of me like, oh, she's that kind of person. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Let's keep going. So in short, all right, so here's another one. So this is saying I'm going to be skipping through bios and profiles, as well as actually giving you the content. So if you look at that, because my bio was like a couple of lines and I had a slide of pictures, so I've actually learned to put an in short slide. Just so in short, what's the key message here? Okay, so as your trainer today, well, guys, in short, I've helped people like you improve their CV and profile. I've helped coaches and consultants understand their strength and uniqueness. I empathize with your self-doubt when you're writing about yourself. And I've learned and practiced the art of standing out and getting noticed. You know, one of the funny stories, I was in Bristol the other day, meeting and kind of getting to know Bristol. And there's this guy that kind of followed up after a networking appointment, and he was from Business West, which is a chamber of commerce in that area. And there was a bit of miscommunication. I thought I was going to lose the appointment, but I wanted to speak with him because he was in charge of kind of introducing trainers and everything like that in the market. And then no, but he made some arrangements, he changed his timing, and then he met me at Cabot Circus. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. You know, I just thought I'd lost the appointment because of a miscommunication. And then when I thanked him for his time and everything, and thank you for making an effort to shift things around, he said, you know, when we first met in that networking, there has to be about 7 or 8 consultants in that room. You stood out for me, and that's why I wanted to meet you, right? So we will talk mostly about getting noticed through your profile. He did also see my profile, my website, and everything like that. He said he thought that what I did was unique, and my style was unique, my explanation was unique. So that's why he made the time. So I want you to have that kind of, you know, experience as well, to become the priority, to be the person that people want to meet, or the right kinds of people want to meet. Okay, so we're going to get practical. My objective is to sharpen your profile, help you feature your best self. We will be able to do this here, but for the most part, this webinar also comes with a free session where I would go through your profile and critique it, basically. So we can do that privately as well. So my promise to you is I will be your educator, not motivator. Okay, so we're here to get practical. I'll be your coach and ask you tough questions. You will get strategies you can use immediately, and I will show you how to take the next steps. We will cover a few things. What are the common mistakes people make? How to feature your strengths, how to find your strengths to begin with, and how to attract the right audience and repel the ones you don't want. Tammy would like that because that's what she wants to repel people, apparently, but the wrong people. And the other tools that you can use to improve your profile on LinkedIn. So we will switch from this presentation, we'll view LinkedIn and see what we can do there. I want to start with this framework, yeah? It's a very general framework, it's not new or anything, but we have to understand that especially in the professional services business, there's a process of buying. A lot of people, the bottom of the pyramid, a lot of people are ready to know about us. And a lot of people like us. Out of those people, some of them will like us. Out of those people who like us, a few of them will trust us, right? And out of those people who trust us, a few of them will buy from us. Okay, so when you're looking at lead generation, you're going to use Sales Navigator, you're going to use networking, business cards, websites, whatever you're using. Why we're doing this profile thing is because if you're successful, a lot of people are going to visit your site, visit your marketing assets, whether it's looking at your profile on LinkedIn or whatever. The question is it impressive? Okay, is your profile going to get them to give you a call or let you give them a call? Okay, when you do connect with people nowadays on LinkedIn, you know, some people are like, you know, I don't know how many of you are using Sales Navigator, but it is out there, right? And you can connect with people from a certain industry, titles, whatever, right? And you ask them for a connection. Hey, I'm looking to connect with such and such. Can we connect? A lot of people, like the way I used to, I'll just connect with everybody. That's why I've got like 9,000 or 8,000 connections. But some people, especially nowadays, I do this as well. I look at who's asking me for a connection. I click on your profile. And I look at your picture, I look at your background, I look at your recommendations, maybe as much time as I need before I reply. And some people I now have already turned away because I don't want to be in the same connection, okay? Because I know, oh, it's just going to sell me something or whatever, okay? Or the people is just average, they're not convincing, okay? So you're spending money getting leads and getting people to a message to connect with you, or you give them a business card, they go to your website. What will they learn about you in the no phase? That's the first impression. Will they like it? Will you have anything there that will earn their trust? Okay, and all these three need to happen before they buy. Okay, so the key question is my profile giving people, my target market, a reason to trust me? Okay, like me, trust me. Okay, and I want you to focus on those two things, because sometimes we focus, okay, what will make people like you, right? I would say sometimes it's the creativity you put into your profile, the language that you use, the picture that you take, right? But when people trust you, it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than a pretty face and a creative design. It's got to be meaty content. It's got to be a background that lists a few things, not just your experience, but your achievements. Okay, so I want you to reflect on this when we look at some of the common mistakes that we sometimes find when people make their profile. No clear purpose. You make a profile because that's what you do, right? We are coaches. We need to make profiles. Yeah, okay. But I would, and this is part of making a marketing plan. But the question is, what's the purpose of that profile? Who are you trying to attract? Who are you speaking to, right? So no clear purpose is a common mistake. The profile just talks about you. So it's a very me-oriented profile rather than a you-oriented profile. Now, you can't make a you-oriented profile unless you've decided who the you is. Is it HR managers? Or is it SME business owners? You know, or is it yoga enthusiasts because you want to be a yoga coach? Or is it housewives wanting to start their own business because you're a mompreneur coach, right? Now, some of you said, well, I can't do that because I focus on everything and I can coach everybody. Okay, LinkedIn profiles can be edited as many times as you want for free. So why don't we look at who is your target market for the next 12 months? Okay, it will take that long to at least get a decent client base, right? So why don't we just pick one, right, that you really, or pick a good size common group of people that you want to associate yourself with, and then you make a profile that speaks to them rather than speaking to everybody but speaking to nobody. Just a couple of, sometimes when I'm here, some of the coaches that I know do call me up and we chat, and I always ask them how they're doing, and we've connected. And there's a coach that's been 4 years in coaching, and he's only had 4 clients. But when I look at his LinkedIn profile, and we were just on a get to know chat, and this is something we probably can do together as well, I noticed that he's got awards for like client results. He's got great results with his clients, even though there are only four of them to win him some awards. So we started chatting, and apparently he was an Air Force veteran. And he's not outgoing. He's quite introverted. I don't know if it's because he was a veteran and he had a bit of PTSD or something like that, which he was handling, but he was quite quiet as a person. But realizing that he only had 4 clients, I just said, well, who are your clients? And then he named all 4 as Air Force veterans. And his title in his LinkedIn profile was something like business coach, growth specialist, the typical generic titles, okay, that kind of tells you what to do, what they are, but doesn't really tell you what they are, After that chat, he changed his title to Air Force business coach because he realized at least in the first 12 months, he wants to focus on just helping other veterans, people who he can empathize with, he understands, and people who he has proven to get results with. And he changed that, and he just completely focused on that. Okay, so common mistake number 2, using too many titles that are too generic, or your titles are just, let's say business coach, life coach, mentor, or something like that, but it doesn't really tell you what about, for whom. Okay, so again, it's not that easy sometimes thinking by yourself, and we could discuss more about it personally for you, but that's just a common mistake number 2. Number 3, too many activities, too little achievement. I'll answer that a little bit more when I show you my LinkedIn profile and some of the things that I put in whenever, I have a job. Oh, let's say I was a national sales manager of a recruitment company. I was a business turnaround specialist at another company. I believe all of us have some kind of achievement. It's just sometimes what we tend to write when we say, oh yeah, I was previously a I don't know, a lawyer, somewhere. And what we tend to write, if we do write our job description, we do just write the activities that we did. I was managing a team of this, and I was in charge of this area and this area. Well, that's what you did. Those are your activities. But what did you achieve? So you'll see later when we see my profile, you'll see that I've shared, things like these are, I turned around the profitability of XYZ, by this much to this much in how many months. Under my leadership, this achievement happened. Okay, we need to do that, and sometimes it is hard to write that about yourself because we're all eating humble pie. But I don't know about you. I mean, all of us may have had experience hiring people. We see a dime a dozen of people who are just telling us on their CV, when we read their CV, it's just a list of activities and job descriptions of the role they possessed, but it's not their achievement. And I don't need to know your role as a salesperson used to be, prospecting and getting leads. I mean, that's a common job description of a salesperson, but what did you achieve? If that CV, and if I was hiring a salesperson and that CV said, got 120% budget achievement, from 2017 to 2018, doubled my achievement the very next year, retained my clients 88%, it's things like that. Then you know that this person has achieved something. They just haven't just held a job. And the same with you. You've all held jobs. You've all had different professional activities before, but what was it that you achieved? I was faced with the challenge of marketing a coach one day who had never been in business in his life. He was 60 years old. Okay, he is a journalist for one of the biggest Indonesian magazine in at that time. So he knew like a lot of government people, a lot of hotshots, celebrities, and everything because he used to interview them. But he had this self-doubt because how can I be a business coach if I have never had experience in business? So what I noticed is that for a 60-year-old, he had a good body. And don't call me a pervert at this point, but I got to do what I got to do. I have a job to deliver, right? So I was looking at, okay, what kind of thing can I work on with him? And I realized, what, for a 60-something-year-old, you're fit. And he says, oh, and then he started talking about his exercise habit and his principles. And then he told me that his son is also an athlete. And he, it's like one of those athletes that actually compete professionally. I said, wow, that's really good. So I just said, well, how'd you coach your son to have the discipline? And that has taken him to athlete status. And he told me about it, and then I said, you're a business coach. Yes, there's an importance to know about business, but more importantly, as a coach, you need to have discipline. So it's almost like business skills is learnable, but you are a living example of personal discipline. And you are a living example of a coach to a young person who is now an accomplished athlete. Can you say something about that? What have you achieved? So instead of saying father of 3, you can say a role model for fitness for my children, or groomed and coached my children to become professional athletes, and that's an achievement. Your title is father of three. So looking again, what I'd be looking for in your CV, and if you and your profile, if you want to get started before even our session, just to make my life a bit more difficult, that's fine, challenge me, is start working on looking at your CV and say, have I just listed all the activities I've ever done for the last 20 years, or have I actually put in a lot of my achievements? Okay. We talked about number 4, not tailored to the target market, because you have no clear purpose or outcome and no clear target market you're writing for. So that's something to pay attention to. That's important because sometimes you want to use certain words that apply to that target market. You know, I mean, just an example, if your target market were Americans and you're talking about you increase revenue, you might want to say you increase sales. If it's Australian, I think they call it turnover. You know, sometimes just the words are different for different target markets. If you're looking to work with HR professionals, for instance, perhaps in some industries, you'll find that they need more technical, this is the coaching style that I use. They want to know, the question is, they want to know, well, what kind of coaching do you use? What kind of technique have you learned? And maybe that is something that is more important for them when they're filtering a CV, rather than only your achievements. They also need to tick the boxes, okay, because they are HR and they are working for a corporation. If your target market is SMEs, maybe you need to use more examples and more words that is more down to earth, not too airy-fairy corporate type of thing. They get intimidated by overly corporate people. And my assumptions about this target market may be completely wrong. As you're listening to me, don't get influenced about, oh yeah, HR is like this, SME. I want you to know your target market. And this is why you go networking. This is why you talk to people. You need to build that persona, that avatar, that person that you're talking to, and then customize it. A lot of profiles are just too generic because you are writing it to feature yourself instead of to connect to a certain audience. Remember, when you are writing a profile, you are writing to connect to people. You are not writing to feature you, okay? It's not an I-based creation. It is a you-based, this is who I am as it relates to your needs. Does that make sense? Okay. It's not just this is who I am. That doesn't work. Okay. No clear uniqueness, probably because you've just tried to do it on your own, and it's really hard to kind of admit to our own genius sometimes. I'll tell you what your genius is. Okay, that's a good news. Competence without character, or vice versa. People buy because you are professional, because you are competent. But we are in the service industry. People also buy you because of your personality. Sometimes, we've seen this before. All of us have worked with vendors, partners, coaches, perhaps self-development gurus. We've all been a client before. Have you ever met someone that is dang smart, but you don't want to buy from them? They're so competent, but either you feel too intimidated or you feel that they are so arrogant that you don't like their character, you don't even like their face, type of thing. Yeah. So when you're working on your profile, I need you to also think about your personality, your character. One of the things my boyfriend insisted that I put on my CV was, I live to have fun. I remember that. He wouldn't let it go. I said, no, that's not very corporate. Put it there, especially because he knew that in the UK market, for instance, yes, it's nice that you are XYZ professional and you've got this YZ certification, but people usually want to build relationship with the person first before they talk business. And what I've also learned being here is that sometimes business is not even brought up in social. I can go out to our local with our neighbors and we never talk about business, not as much as we did in Asia, right? So it's not a thing, right? So people want to know your character. But so remember that you have a personality and you need to splash of your character there. Or sometimes your CV is full of character and personality, but you forgot to talk about your competence. That's not good either. Yeah. Not enough references. So some of the LinkedIn profiles that I've seen are quite bare when it comes to testimonials, endorsements. So, and even if it's not LinkedIn, if it's offline, it would be nice for you to be prepared with some stories, some references. Using only one format. Let's say you're only using text. One of the things that I'm running a course on the 27th of February about marketing strategies, choosing marketing strategies that fit your style. It's going to be held in Bristol. But one of the things we will cover is understanding what type of format suits you, and this is what I like to pick out when I'm working with service providers, is that some people are very good on video. Text just makes them bland. Some people are very good in text. Video, they don't do too well with, okay? So, and then, so it's good to play around with a few types of media. Sometimes it's an audio, not a video, or something. But when you're only using one format, you feel a bit limited, okay? And your personality doesn't come out. Okay, so another thing is not leveraging related words, or and then again we're talking about the thing of about tailoring it to the target market. I'm going to close the participant box a little bit because it's getting in my way, but all right, not leveraging keywords is one thing that will keep your profile from being seen. Keywords, it's very important for you to understand which keywords are used in your industry, because it's Google searchable and everything, and that's how you're going to get your credibility up. Okay, so what is your outcome? What is it that you are looking for to do in your profile? Okay, and who are you speaking to? So I want to kind of create a bit of a discussion here from these two questions. When you're writing a profile, who is it that you are specifically speaking to, and what do you want to achieve with that profile? Who wants to start? I'm going to relieve myself from all this because I want to see you, but who wants to start?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, the question is, what is the outcome that you're trying to achieve in writing the profile, and who are you speaking to? Now, when you're writing a profile, what is the outcome you're looking to get? And who are you speaking to?
Can I start?
Sure, Canon. If you're ready, go ahead. Whoever's ready. I'm picking on people.
Okay. As an executive coach, I am selling to the HR department. So the corporate company is buying the coaching service on behalf of their leaders in the organization. And my outcome is either being accepted in the pool of coaches of that organization, or meet a demand from one of the leaders of the organization.
Good. So while you're listening to other people, I'd like you to write down or start thinking about corporates, HR, right? Basically, the outcome is to get an appointment for some kind of executive coaching. So I want you to go back to this slide and just say, what types of things are they looking for in a profile that will increase their trust in you? Okay, increase their trust, basically, in any profile. What kind of things are they looking for that can build trust? All right. Okay, while you do that, let's move on to other people. Who else? Who's ready?
I'm ready. Well, I'm ready, as in I roughly know, but I'm sure you've got some thoughts on it.
Okay, tell me.
So who am I speaking to is business owners that are local to me with a minimum of 5 members of staff that are in professional services industries.
Local to you is what city are you in now?
I'm right on the Surrey, Berkshire, Hampshire border, so sort of within a 20-mile radius of Camberley.
Okay, so again, the question is, what kind of things are they looking for in a profile that can help them trust someone like you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's where often my biggest stumbling block is.
Okay. Why is that a stumbling block? You don't know what they're looking for, or what?
Yeah, I think I often just presume or assume that I think that they're looking for something, but is that truly what they're looking for?
Well, you're not a new coach now. You've got clients that
No.
have been very happy with you, right? In the past, one or
Yeah,
two?
yeah.
Okay.
I got the odd one.
So what I need you to do is I want you within the next 1 week to have a conversation with one of them, or hopefully all of them somehow. Just ask them, what kinds of questions would you need to ask in order to find out what you don't know, right? For example, give me a question that you think you should be asking them so that you don't just presume things, but you actually know. And other people, please feel free to help. Ken and Tammy as well, feel free to help. I'll start you off with one. We've had a good experience working together, Mr. and Mrs. Client, right? Can you tell me what has been the value you got by working with me? Okay. Can you tell me, when you're looking for people to guide you in your business, what do you look for? How can you know you can trust people that is trying to offer you services? And it doesn't have to be just coaching, you don't have to limit it to
No.
that, just services, right? I mean, it's the same thing. We're all in the service business. They'll do that same with accountants, solicitors, everything, right? Okay, so I've given you two questions. Any other thoughts? Yeah. Feel free to help each other. Any other one? Yeah, Cannon.
I have one idea. Maybe you can ask what you were able to achieve because of working with me.
Yep. Okay.
That you could not have achieved if you had been alone, let's say.
Another one, Nell, a contradicting question. Okay, it's not always just about you, right? But you want to know, what are they looking for when they're choosing service providers. So you can also say, what don't you like? Service providers, here come, there's a lot of them, right? So what are some of the approaches that you don't like? What are some of the things that you see that you don't like that kind of lowers your trust? Because sometimes for people, it's easier for them to tell you what they don't like rather than what they like. Okay?
Yes.
All right. You get the idea. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it. You get the idea.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't know, absolutely, you're spot on. Don't presume. Just start asking questions. Because again, you're not a new coach, so even if you are a new coach, because some of you are here, you can ask your friend. Everybody that you know who is in business has been a client before. Yeah, has been a client of a service provider before. And so some of these things you can actually just ask your network. And it could be a cool networking question if you are, sometimes we don't want to just network. I've got a networking session tonight, for instance, and I don't want to just blab about what I do. I want to get to know them, right? You can say, oh, have you ever worked with a coach before? Oh, yeah, da, 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 da. Hey, can you help me? So that they feel like you're not trying to sell to them. Can you help me? I'm trying to market better and everything like that. What do you like to see that builds your credibility about a coach? Just say it to a potential prospect. You might actually be different that night. Oh, we actually had a nice chat. And it's incredible how people like to help you. And then the next time you call them out for coffee, they remember that I was the girl I helped, right? It's not necessarily she's going to sell me something. And you to reciprocate, thanks for helping me on this one. By the way, you know, let's have a chat. Let's do this. And before you know it, it could end up to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's no point pretending that you know things. Yeah, because it's just going to lead to bad marketing. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Tammy? Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing, and I completely agree with you. People love helping people. So if you like the, what's the word, damsel in distress, if you go with that, people are always quick to support you, and understanding what they don't like is great for, what I do when someone says, oh, I don't like this, I use that as to break down their barriers, because people are quite defensive. So I say, I'm not one of those people that pushes sales. I just can't be doing that. It's almost then they think, oh, actually, I quite like Tammy. She's not going to be pushing sales onto me. And then you build that trust there to then, move on to whatever it is that you want to solve together. Yeah, I
Great.
agree with you, Cynthia. So the question, so who are you speaking to? So for me, it's professionals and business owners, so they can go on to succeed without limitations. So it's all about that balance with success in life. And funny enough, the universe has been speaking to me this last week. And I was getting myself a little bit confused. I get further along the line with clarity who I'm working with, and then I get a little bit confused, and then I get more clarity. So the clarity that I've had is, what is the outcome? They're all asking for things around, it's not time management, but really it's about that productivity, so they can do more in less time and do things that are meaningful for them. So that comes back to the balance in life. So it completely meets the message that I'm trying to communicate. But it also got a lot of credibility there. I definitely have a Japanese soul. My entire life is around efficiency and quality of time. And when I say quality time, that's around life and not just work that we've been programmed to do. It's quality time that fuels my soul in real angles. So I connected all the dots very quickly, and I could see my energy shift, and I was like, wow, it's the outcome is around time.
That's right. And Tammy, and people should know that I think Tammy's got a great persona set up. She, an avatar about her target market. But see, what happens is, so let's say she just said time management, productivity, and everything like that. Time. Okay, so why are we asking ourselves, what is your outcome and who are you speaking to? If you know that, then guess what? Try to shape your bio, your introduction of yourself around the helping people find time. And if you are going to talk about, here's a story about myself and how I overcame this struggle. Hey, guess what? It's about time, right? There's some parts of it's got to be about time, okay? Because that's what they're looking for. And if you're going to do a bio, like a video about yourself and introducing what you do for other people, it will be using those keywords about time, productivity, blah, 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 because and this is your outcome, is to speak to those kinds of people who need time. So again, it's back to who is your target market first. So I had a big shift because I was doing business coaching, leadership coaching, and then now I shifted quite recently to self-employed people. I shifted, I would say, quite drastically and then I had to change everything, change the way I described myself on my profile, because I was no longer talking to the client, I was talking to the coaches, okay? And I didn't want to be seen as a competitor. I wanted to be seen as a supporter and an enabler of the industry, not just one of the players in the industry. So again, a lot of the marketing materials have now been shifted properly, but it was a big shift. And because of that, the content that I write now is not about general business, but it's about self-employed professions, okay? But I also know I didn't want to specifically just talk about coaching and consulting professions. My clients are researchers, solicitors, they're self-employed, but they're not a coach or consultant. So I didn't want to target that. Some of you, let's say, decided to focus on women. So it's got to be all, who are you speaking to? Women business owners. Then it's got to be around that and how you have emerged as a leader amongst women communities, or among male dominated industries or something like that. So it's so important for you to know who first before you start talking about your profile. I'm going to go over time. Is it all right for everybody if we spend another 10 minutes on this?
Yes.
Okay. How to find your strengths. We talked a little bit about that. How to find your strengths. When I work with people like you to find your strengths, it's not as straightforward. Sometimes, when we first start talking, you're just going to give me the obvious stuff. But the more I work with people, I can dig out strengths basically from your past achievements, obviously, from your career and everything, but also your personal achievements. Yeah. Your personal story. I mean, we've all had to survive through something. We've all have thrived through something. What people say about you, right? What you're good at, what you naturally comes very easy to you, your character. And sometimes this is the one thing that you cannot sense by yourself, because it's how other people perceive you. And if all else fails, psychometrics. Okay. There's strength finders, there's all these kinds of psychometrics. Wealth dynamics is great. But yes, of course, the psychometrics help, but it's not just that. Your strengths are in all these 6 things. Okay. So it's all about how to get that out. What does your LinkedIn profile say about you, right? Is interesting, because again, it's one thing to have all these leads coming in, but as we know that if we don't have a good profile, sometimes people land on our profile and they say, oh, I don't want to connect with this person, or they have a wrong impression of us. Even if they connect, they don't really have a good impression of us, and that's too bad. So you're wasting your marketing money getting leads. I'm going to switch over and share my LinkedIn profile here. Not because it's the best, but it's because it's what I have. Okay. And so far people have said that it has been quite interesting, and it's been quite unique, and it's been impressive, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'd share it with you. This icon here, the background picture, right? So designing a background picture that reflects what your message is. Some of you still have the blue thing, which is not bad. I mean, if you can't think of any other thing, you might as well just have that blue background. But if you do have an icon, a picture, an image, I bought this out of Shutterstock, I think for £5 or something. And it was something that I liked. I wish it was a woman as well, or like 2 people, but who knows? You can't have it all, right? Maybe it was just a short-haired woman. I'm not sure. But anyway, and then you'll have my picture. And I did invest in professional photography here because I couldn't imagine myself taking a selfie, or other pictures that I've tried wasn't that good. Right. I guide self-employed professionals to make more money from their practice or get more time through a profitable exit. Okay. I could have done better. In Indonesia, I had a title here, leadership coach. And that title was in my linkedin.com/IN is Indonesia, and not Cynthia Wiharja, but leadership coach. Okay. And for that reason, every time somebody typed leadership coach, I was top of the search, because my actual account name is leadership coach. Because I figured nobody really knows who Cynthia Wiharja is. And when they click that, they land on my profile. So that was quite smart. When I changed, and I haven't done this yet, and I will do it, but I want to also change this again. Okay, I was in a transition period, so I stopped that, but now I want to change this again. When you can have this as a keyword instead of your name, sometimes it's good for you, because people don't, unless you're somebody famous or something, people don't usually look for you in your name. Your name's not famous yet, so it's better just to use a keyword. But if you look at this, yeah, so far I couldn't think of a good title yet, so I've erased it. But I have said, Cynthia Wiharja, but I wanted to have a description here. What do I do? And it has to be a benefit. It's, so if you're self-employed, you look at this and says, ooh, more money, ooh, more time. Okay, profitable exit. Never thought of that. Can I exit? It's a self-employed business. Can I exit? Right? So it's benefit. what I have seen, and I'm not going to open anybody's profile here out of respect, but what I have seen is, let's say, I don't know, John Smith, right? Business coach, executive coach, keynote speaker, la 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 la, TEDx, this and that. It's just so much, but what is it? You know, or here is just business coach and mentor. But what is it? What do you do? What is the benefit? Remember the questions people ask: how can you help me? Okay. Again, the same thing here, you know, about some people's about is empty, and that's shocking. It shouldn't be. Okay. I unlock this, I unlock that. You know, there's a lot of eyes, but it's a lot of benefit eyes. This is a credibility statement. My style is this, just to make me a little bit more human, just to get a little bit in touch. And then I filter my clients. My clients are committed to their dreams. They take ownership, because I don't want to work just with anyone. And if you want to repel certain people, feel free to add a line about your client, your ideal client. That might be interesting. Using different kinds of media. This is my podcast. Okay, so if they click the view, that goes into my podcast. Okay, and they can take a look at that. Spotify. Oops. This is my video that have not been refreshed, but I said better than nothing, right? I'm looking to look at a new video, but haven't gotten time to do that yet. But this is a YouTube video, a YouTube link, basically. Some of you are I don't claim to be the best in technology, and I'm not here to teach you about technology. I'm here to give you insight about the content. You can always get better technology advice elsewhere. Articles. If you look at the number of articles that I've written, it's quite a lot, right? I do it on a regular basis. This is also part of the trust factor. If you're not having regular content posted, if you're just posting short posts and you're not having regular content posted, like that's meaty, you might be missing out on things. And some people will view and what I do is also I give this as giveaways to people that I connect to. Like the other day, I connected with a guy who is very successful, but now he wants to take his coaching business to the level where he hires associates and all these kinds of things. So I sent him this. I sent him this article. You know, I said, "Hey, Rob, we were talking about this the other day. Why don't you take a look at this? This is an article I thought it'd be relevant to you." So it becomes little tiny gifts that people can read. Okay. Experience. Now I want to talk about this, right? Experience. This is, of course, the Brave Zone is my existing company, but I'll also go back to my years in Ecolab. This was, instead of saying I was a sales manager, I was doing this, I was doing that. Oh, quick chat check. What is this? Okay, Tammy's leaving. Bye, Tammy. I've also said turn around unprofitable business by improving the work culture in organization. Groom leaders by doing this. So it's an achievement. It is not a in charge of how many countries, you know, or led blah blah blah. It's not just a list of jobs that I did. It's not just an activity, but it's an achievement. I actually don't even tell you what I do on a daily basis. I just give you my results. Okay. Strategic marketing manager. Okay. Achieve breakthrough results by shortening the product revision. This. Okay. So it's meaty. It's something that I've achieved, I've done. It's not something that, it's not just a job description of my role. Okay. Education, volunteer experience. Yeah. Fill it up. All these are filled up. Some of your profiles is not filled up. Your endorsements, you need to know how to work some of these endorsements. Recommendations. As you know, I've been very active. I've got a lot, but look at how much I've given as well. Okay. I've given a lot. Honors, awards, you can just go on and on about that, and then these are the groups that you follow. Okay. So what are some of the things, now I want to have a short discussion before we kind of wrap it up, but what are some of the things you're learning, you have learned, or what are some of the values that you've gotten from this webinar? Can we share a little bit? I know we've gone over time, but maybe it'll just be fun just to wrap it up with that, and then I'll give a few announcements at the end.
I'll start if you want, Cynthia.
Yeah.
It's about being short, clear, but stand out. So don't put down things that everybody else is writing. So stand out more by keeping things simple.
Right. And be you. I mean, there's a reason why people have worked with you and they've loved it. So, yeah. Okay. Canon?
Yeah, can you repeat the question? I couldn't, I was just
Yeah. We're on the
stalking your
process of
profile.
wrapping it up. Yeah, yeah, you're looking at your profile now. But what has been some of the value that you've gotten out of this session, either looking at my profile or some of the tips that we've gotten through the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I was also taking notes in the meantime. Well, I was, for example, especially the last part in the LinkedIn profile. First, I wrote executive coach or business coach, things like that, and I felt people were feeling worse than I write anything else. Because when you write a business coach and send a connection request, they immediately, oh, this is going to try to sell me something. So I did not know what to write there, just a few words, but I'm sure I'm going to change the title. I'm going to write, like you said, I guide self-employed professionals, things like that. Plus, about the things I have achieved, there's nothing at all in my LinkedIn profile. I just wrote the brands and companies and how long I have worked there, but there's clearly nothing at all. I'm going to work on it immediately.
Yeah, that's what I did notice about that. And then as some of you have got websites too, right? If you go to my website, it's also about how to format your profile into your website, how to talk about yourself. Again, you have to say, well, what is the outcome? When people read about me on the website, what is the outcome? You know, starting from speaking to the audience, I just want to self-employed professionals. Can you imagine if you're a corporate citizen, you'd be like, oh, this is not the website for me. Just close it. That's right. Just close it because you're not my target market. I'm not here for leadership coaching, right? I'm not interested to someone who is not self-employed or who doesn't want to one day be self-employed. Okay. And then I only want people who want more money and time. That's it. If you said, no, I'm an altruistic self-employed person and I can't be bothered making more money and I love giving my time away, don't talk to me. Okay. That's fine. But when you know, here's the thing also is, they're the star. If you look at my website, and you'll have more time to evaluate it after this call, obviously. When you look at how I write, sometimes it's me. I am second. I am the secondary. I'm the supporter. I'm not the star. Okay. Self-employed professionals. Do you want more time and money? I guide self-employed professionals to build a profitable business. So who am I? And this is not even me. This is just about the principle of building a great business is more than just delivering a great service. Then I say, here's your guide. You know, not your guru, not your mentor, not anybody. I'm just your guide, meaning that you're the star. Okay. And then I've given a little credibility statement. Yeah. But it's also benefits. I give you this, I give you that. When you work with this, when you work with me, you get that. And then here's the benefit. Save yourself time and money by letting me diagnose your existing instead of trial and error, right? Help you see your blind spot and sharpen business growth strategy. When you find out more and you actually go to my profile page, the about page, there's a short 1 sentence or 2 sentence blurb about who I am and who I want you to get the first impression of me. What is it? I say, okay, fine. 22 years as a corporate leader and entrepreneur. Why that? Because again, I do believe some coaches don't come with some coaches coach businesses, but they don't come with business backgrounds. And maybe I could be quite unique in that, right? Because I do come from successful business backgrounds. But I don't say, look at how successful I am. I just say, it taught me that I love the game of business. You know, you love games that you're good at. That's an assumption, right? I don't have to tell you I'm good at it. I'm just saying I love the game. If I wasn't good at it, I'd quit the game, right? So it's a nice soft way, soft sell of telling people that I'm quite good at this, right? I get a thrill out of personal achievement. I didn't say I am a very successful person, point blank, right? That's really arrogant, but I get a thrill. I enjoy it. It lights me up. I'm just sharing with you what lights you up. I'm not telling you I'm good. I'm just saying I get a thrill of this, right? That means you're kind of getting the impression that, she must have a lot of achievements. And then I have another theme about myself, enabling people to help others. You know, people help people, okay? And then I give a little background, so you can feel free to read this. It's not perfect, but maybe you can get some insight out of it. It's a bit about my background, my achievements in the corporate world, what I built after corporate, how Action Coach Jakarta has thrived, okay? And that's the company that I built. What I'm passionate about, how I contribute to community on a pro bono basis, and then now my new chapter in the UK. And then, you know, a little message for my target audience, and a motivational end to that whole thing. And of course, I use quotes from UK inspiring people, because my first set of quotes was like John C. Maxwell, you know, Jim Rohn, all these American people. And then my British colleague said, you know, if you're going to market in Britain, especially in Bath, because this is where the Dyson family lives, you know, why don't you start looking at British quotes, okay? And then, of course, you have all these pictures that you can do, and then different things. But basically, just take a look if you want some thoughts, or just take a look at other people's profile as well. You can also take a look at mine, and just try to dissect, what is she trying to do when she writes this profile? So I'm just going to finish up real quick. And you are entitled to a profile critique session. If you are interested, email me at that email address and I'll send you a scheduling link. I want to let you know also that I'm having 2 workshops on the same day, so you can make a day of it. But basically it's on the 27th of February in Bristol, near the Cabot Circus, so lots of shopping if you want to do all that stuff afterwards. But in the morning, we're going to talk about finding your uniqueness and marketing your strength. I have slimmed down the topic because I want to spend more time in it. And I want to give you a set of questions that you can think during the session. We can discuss. We'll have more time than today, so we'll have more discussions about what makes you unique. How do you benchmark yourself around with others, and what is your authentic style? So it's not just uniqueness and observability, but also personality. Analyze your strengths and opportunities. We will do a SWOT analysis on you, right? And then we'll do a little bit for you guys here. It may be kind of the same, but I want to, again, to talk more details about how to create a bio and marketing message. And hopefully, because that's the end part of it, hopefully you'll have more clarity about what makes you unique. So that's February 27th. The February 27th. I think it's about £75 for that workshop. And then in the afternoon, and that workshop comes with a light lunch. And in the afternoon, what we'll do is talk about the marketing strategies. Now that you know yourself, your uniqueness and everything, well, who's your target market? You know, how do you want to communicate to them? What kind of marketing strategies fit you? Like today, I'm having a networking session. For me, getting leads from a networking session is very easy because I'm a networking person, okay? Some people are not networking people. Some people are digital marketing people. The reason I'm very passionate to share this with you is because our industry is fast growing and we are being bombarded with offers of digital marketing this and digital marketing that, courses of tens and thousands of pounds. But it's actually, many of it is not sensitive to the fact that not everybody should be focusing that much on digital marketing. And if you are focusing on digital marketing and you have a limited budget, and you have a small budget, you might as well not do it, okay? That's what a lot of people don't know. And while they're doing and focusing too much behind a laptop, they're losing their authentic self. They're losing their strength because they think behind a laptop is the only way to get clients. Okay, so I want to kind of help people to understand what their style is so that they don't spend their money on the wrong thing. Okay, and then we'll talk about some of the marketing, a marketing plan template that I use, and then I'll share it with you so that you can create an actionable marketing plan that gets results. Okay, so those are the two things that's happening. Again, I want to thank you for being here. I hope you got some value. It looks like you did. So soon we're going to end the meeting, and I'll edit the recording. If it's okay, I'll edit the recording when I land in Jakarta, because I am flying out tomorrow for a 1.5 week trip. So I will send you the recording by the end of the week, but I can't promise to send it to you by tomorrow. Okay. But I do want to leave you with a bit of homework. Take a look at some of the notes that you've made today, and take a look at your profile. Try to do something with your profile before our critique service, so that I don't repeat what you already know. And then let's have that critique service. The earliest that I can do it is obviously after the 10th of February anyway, because I will be away and I don't plan on doing any coaching or anything while I'm away. Short trip, want to see the family kind of thing. But when I come back, then you would have had enough time to edit it a bit, and then let's take it to that next level during the conversation. Or maybe you've done it so well that I'll just say, okay, well, I can't contribute anything else. Maybe I give up, you win, but I I hope that, stump me. That's my challenge to you. Stump me. Okay. So I hope that was interesting for everybody. It's been fun for me. Did you all have fun?
Yes, lots of notes taken. Thank you, Cynthia.
All righty.
Thank you, Cynthia. I benefited a lot, and I'll work on through my notes and prepare something before we have our discussion with you.
Yes. Please email me and I'll give you a scheduling link. All right?
All right, guys. Have a nice flight.
Have a safe trip.
You too. Thanks. Have a good week.
Bye.
All right?
Bye.